Welcome in to the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview, proudly presented by Arkansas Tech University, D3 Auto Sales, and by Metcalf Trucking Company. Today we sit down with Maumelle Hornets head coach Brian Maupin. This Pigskin Preview is sponsored by First Community Bank.
All right, I am here with Coach Brian Maupin here, head coach here for the Maumelle football team. Coach, this team last year did make the playoffs, but you fell short in the first round. Tell me how eager this team is to get back to that level and what their motivation is like to make a playoff run this year.
Yeah, man, I think every year since I got here, we're trying to just improve marginally. In my last coaching stop, it was really unique. We went one step further every year until we won multiple state championships. And so for me, just kind of taking that one day at a time approach, trying to foster the talent that's here and do my due diligence to make sure that we are as physical, we are giving the best effort, we trust one another, and we are executing at the highest level. Try to control the controllables and trust God with the results.
So tell me about your culture here at Maumelle, what you guys try to do on a day-to-day basis maybe that you think differentiates you from maybe some other schools.
Well, one of the big things is we're really blessed with our facilities now. This is the first time since I've been here that we've had a full functioning weight room. We have this beautiful indoor facility now. We got 3 turf fields on campus. So the work we're able to get in now is really a big leap from where we were. And for me, that's huge in my program. So that was really frustrating when I got here because the work and the weight room is a huge part of what I pride myself on bringing to a program. And so the work we've been able to put in this offseason, I think is going to pay out in huge dividends this season. And, Cade Pugh and Tucker Kennedy do a really good job with our off-season program and our strength and conditioning. I think they're some of the finest in the industry, and I think that's a big deal. You can't put a premium on. Because here's the deal. The season is 10 weeks long, the regular season. Your off-season is way longer than that. So the work you're putting in and the quality of work you're putting in during that time is what's really going to set you up for success during the season.
So tell me about what you want the identity of your team to be this season. What do you want coaches to come to you, after a game and say, man, your team just did this really well, or maybe some people that watch your team aren't familiar with it. What do you want them to take away after they watch your team play this season?
Yeah, so for us, our team acronym is PEAT. It's physical, effort, trust, and execution. And that's kind of what the things we want to hang our hat on. We want to be the most physical team on the field every Friday. We want to give the most effort of anybody on the field. We want to trust one another, trust the coaches, trust ourselves, and then we want to execute at a high level. I think if you handle those 4 aspects of the sport, I think you set yourself up for a lot of success. And then when you sprinkle in the talent that we're blessed with here, that's when you can be a championship caliber team.
What would you say the expectation is for this program whenever, your guys go out and put on a Maumelle jersey on Friday nights? What do you think the expectation is from this talent and from the fans and even from the players themselves and the coaching staff?
I think it's growing every day. That's one of the really big things that I try to bring here is we play to win. Like my boy Herman Edwards says, you play to win the game. And for us, anytime we load a bus, anytime we walk out on the field and we represent this school, this community, this town, this place, this program, this athletic department, we want to do it with our best foot forward. We're not going to be dirty, cheap-shotting, and fighting. We're going to command ourselves honorably, but we are going to absolutely kick butt for those 48 minutes that are on the clock. That's the expectation for us, and I think we're building towards that every day. We've taken huge strides. Now it's time to actually step into that light of being a championship contender, whether that's a conference championship and eventually a state championship.
Tell me about the roster that you're working with this season. Some guys you're going to be leaning on to be leaders on and off the field. Some guys that might be, a coach on the field maybe who you trust to go out there and know what they're doing, help other players who might not have as much experience or something like that. And then tell me some guys that you think maybe, you think will have a breakout year, maybe some guys that, people aren't familiar with, but they're going to make a name for themselves this season?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big believer that football in general starts up front. We put a huge premium on that around here. And for us, a big deal with that is when I first got here, we decided to roll with about 4 or 5 sophomores up front. And we took our lumps a little bit that first year, but those snaps, that experience, and what those guys grew and developed from those snaps is paying huge dividends. That group of guys is seniors right now. I think about Connor Forte, Caden Sherman, Drake Lucier, Xavier Maldonado, just guys that really cut their teeth in this program the last 3 years, and now they're able to lead this place. BJ Beats, guys that are really well-versed in varsity football and they've seen the pains of loss, they've seen the kind of rewards of winning, and now they're really ready to kind of make this season their identity and their legacy here. It's one of the more exciting things about this team and this place is, it's a very new school. In the grand spectrum of football, the place has only been around 12, 13 years. And so we talk to the guys all the time. Like, we have a rich Oak Grove tradition that we've inherited here. But as far as the Maumelle football side, you have a chance to make history. You have a chance to go down as one of the greatest Maumelle Hornets of all time. You have a chance to do something that nobody in school history has done, because there isn't much school history. You are the school history. So we talk all the time about being living history around this place and embracing that, because there are teams around the state with rich tradition. I mean, you got teams at Wynn and at Joe T. Robinson and places that have been here for a long time, have had great players over years and years and years. And for us, we want to make our identity a rich tradition, and we get to be at the forefront of that. That's very unique to young people. Sometimes in this culture, we lack a sense of history. Well, our guys don't have to go that far back to find all the Maumelle history. And then they are excited that maybe kids and generations to come can know about them and what they did to lay the foundation around here. We have a kids camp in the morning, and the guys are excited to build into the youth because they know that we're building a legacy around here every day. But I think about that lineman group and those guys that have a chance to really kind of come full circle from where we started. Those were the sophomores when I came over here, and I'm just excited to see those guys ball out this year.
So tell me a little bit about what you guys do, just as far as your scheme on offense, what you guys do as far as, pass heavy, run heavy, what you guys try to do with your play calling and with your offensive attack.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're a very well-balanced attack. I mean, I think we're pretty 21st century spread, 10, 11 personnel. Big thing is we want to control the game with our dominance, but at the same time, I want to create ways to get the ball in our playmakers' hands and utilize all the skills that these kids have to impact the game. We're really blessed. We got a lot of guys on the outside and the edge that can make plays. Guys like Jonathan Frost, who is one of the best playmakers in the state. You got guys like Josiah Warrior Benson, Jackson Hampton, Hayden Sublett, Christian Jackson, Jordan Harris. I mean, guys that can really, Derek Palmer, guys that can really make plays. So our job as a staff is to find ways to get them the ball in advantageous positions. And then, with the backs that we have in the backfield and the whole line that we have coming back, it's kind of pick your poison. And so for me, it's not we're not set in stone. I'm not that stubborn of a coach. We're going to do whatever it takes to win, whatever it takes to put our guys in the best position.
So tell me about kind of the same thing that you guys do on defense, just your scheme and maybe some guys that are going to stand out, and just what your expectation is for that group.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we take a unique approach to defense. We run 4-2-5. I've been running it for over 15 years, and the big thing with that is we like to dictate things to the offense. I think a lot of defense is reactionary, and for us, we want to be the aggressor. We want to be the spark that's making the change happen, not the other way around. Not always just adjusting to the offense. We want to have the offense canceling things out of their playbook because they can't do it against what we do. Sending pressures, timely pressures, but also just trusting the down four to get there and get home. keeping a good shell in the back, play a lot of man coverage and get after people. But we want to play a very aggressive brand of defense, not an undisciplined brand of defense, but a very aggressive brand of defense. Secondary has a chance to be really special. I think by guys like Caden Brooks, who has completely changed himself this offseason, Antonio McFadden, who's one of the fastest kids in the entire state, Keytron Green, Derek Palmer again, Jonathan Frost, Ty Ransom. We got a lot of guys that are able to make a lot of really, really, really good plays and can do a lot of really good things. And it's just exciting to see those guys get out there and ball. Linebackers are both back. Bubba Johnson and Jonathan Williams, who had a phenomenal summer to this point. And then the D-line's got a chance to be really dominant with guys like Anthony Kennedy, BJ Beast, Joe Mason, Jordan Harris, and then Caden Sherman and Connor Forte as well. It's just a bevy of ways to attack an offense.
So tell me a little bit about, you guys, like we said, made the playoffs earlier last season. Tell me about what you think that your schedule will look like, your non-conference, your conference, and then, maybe some teams that are even in your classification that you think are going to provide a challenge for pretty much everybody in the classification when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah, I think we're blessed to play in what I believe is the toughest conference, top to bottom in the state. Our non-conference is littered with well-respected programs. Sylvan Hills is a solid 6A program that's done some really good things over the years. I got a lot of respect for those guys over there. That's who we open the season with. We'll play Parkview week 1, which is really exciting. That's a team that plays a physical brand of football, has a lot of athletes on the field, and we're excited to kind of match wits with them and see how that goes. And then, you got Coach Ashcraft, who just took over at Bologna to wrap up our non-conference, which is always a solid team in program. And then in conference, you just think we got 2 6A teams dropping down in Jacksonville and Searcy, which will be fun and interesting. You got guys like Pine Bluff and Joe T. Robinson. There's old battles with BB, and you got Watson Chapel in there and Whitehall. And so I really just think it's exciting for me as a coach because I don't have to coach them up every week. You can't take a week off in this conference or this classification. From top to bottom, I think 5A is just the gold standard. I think it's a really good football from top to bottom. Obviously there are teams that are more elite than others, but as far as just an exciting atmosphere Friday after Friday, good football, good coaches, good players, good men in the business, I think it's a blessing to be where we are. We're really excited to compete at what we think is the highest level and get after it.
So you mentioned that you scheduled some really tough teams at the beginning of your season. I've talked to a lot of coaches. One of them was Coach Kelly up at Sheridan, and he said that, when you look at Sylvan Hills specifically, they might not have had the most success with wins. When you go to their school, they got some big guys and athletic guys walking around over there. And then Bologna is going to be tough with Coach Ashcraft. He's had a lot of success as a coach. And then Parkview is coming off some state titles. So tell me why you scheduled those teams the way you did. Obviously, it's going to be it's not going to be an easy road for y'all to getting into conference play. So tell me about why you scheduled those teams.
I think Sylvan Hills presents some very specific matchups that are important for us to see, guys that are athletic and long and can make plays, and us being able to execute against that. We've always had a great relationship with those guys, inter-district game, inter-district school, so I think that's always fun when you can play teams within your own district. Obviously Parkview is at this point, the class of 5A. And so for me, that's a year-to-year thing. So it's not like they're an inheritance thing. They got to come out and earn it every year just like we do. And so what better measuring stick early in the season so that we can, make the corrections that we need to, or we can continue doing the things we're doing well in that game going forward. The other thing is we don't get a look at those South Conference teams much. And so if we're going to try to spread our looks out amongst the West and the South and the East, and then I want to make sure that we're getting what I believe is the class of that conference. So why not schedule anybody other than the 2-time conference champion over there so that we can get a look at those South teams. So when we're watching film on those guys, Camden, Fairview, Hot Springs, Lakeside, guys like that, now I have something to relate it to because we've played Parkview. So how they look against Parkview, I can relate it to something. Bologna's been a conference opponent for a long time, and there's a rich tradition between Maumelle and Bologna over the years, and so adding them when they left the conference and went to the West was kind of a no-brainer. It gives us a look at West opponents and kind of competitiveness, but at the same time keeps a rich tradition and rivalry kind of going.
So, last couple of questions for you. The first one is, you mentioned that you really are looking forward to this team kind of making history, kind of being the new standard for Maumelle football. Do you think that puts any pressure on your players to kind of step up and be the ones that build this into a historic program?
Obviously, pressure is something I never want guys to feel overwhelmed by, but if you're not comfortable with pressure, then you're always limiting your capacity for success. And so for me, pressure is not something we're going to run from in this program. I love a merit-based world and a merit-based system. And so for me, creating that in a daily atmosphere, it really relieves the big picture pressure, because we're under pressure every day to make sure that we're as successful as we can be. Because, if you're not on your stuff, then, you're not going to play for us. And so there's pressure enough on these young men to be on their P's and Q's just to get on the field as a Hornet. And when you've earned that right, the pressure's off. Go out and ball. You know what I'm saying? We believe you work Sunday through Thursday, and then we party on Friday nights. That's the big thing. The hay's in the barn. By the time we're warming up and doing pregame on Friday, if we're panicking and scrambling and putting in checks and adjustments, then we failed these kids. So for me, I want Fridays to be a loose environment where we can cut it loose and have some fun. And by the end of the season, I think we'll have a warm embrace on senior night, and then we'll hopefully be rolling into the playoffs, chasing history, but just doing it one step at a time, really process over goal, really taking that process-oriented mindset.
So, what would it take for you to be able to walk away from this season and feel like you guys were successful?
For us, we're chasing championships. I think that starts with a conference championship. I think you position yourself to do well in the playoffs as a conference champion. We have not been conference champions since I've been here, and I'm not sure on the last time they were conference champions around here. And so for us, I think the first step, obviously we want to have a winning season and a playoff berth. We've done that. Now let's take the next step. Let's be conference champs and set ourselves up for playoff success. I said that at that point, just roll the ball out and give us a chance. And we're really excited about the opportunity to eventually compete for a state championship.
All right, this has been an interview with Coach Brian Maupin here, the head football coach at Maumelle. Coach, is there anything you want to say about your program before we sign off here?
I just love these kids so much, and go Hornets, make history.
All right, I'm Carson Ward with Arkansas Sports Network. You can find Arkansas Sports Network on Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks again for joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Arkansas Sports Network on YouTube to catch more previews and all the latest updates on your favorite teams.